The Collapse of Traditional Printing. This book was written for the individuals who built, operated, managed, modernized, sold, maintained, and depended upon the printing industry. It was written for publishers, newspaper executives, production managers, engineers, press operators, sales professionals, investors, business owners, and industry leaders who understand that printing has never been merely ink on paper. For centuries, it served as one of the foundations of commerce, education, advertising, journalism, and the distribution of information. Understanding the future of printing requires understanding the forces that made the industry successful in the first place. The business models, operational disciplines, production systems, and customer relationships that sustained printing for generations still contain valuable lessons. Certain principles remain relevant today. Others must evolve to survive in a dramatically different environment. The collapse of traditional printing did not begin inside a press room. It began beyond the industry's walls as economic disruption, technological innovation, and changing consumer behavior gradually altered how information is consumed, how organizations communicate, and how businesses reach customers. For generations, printing occupied a privileged position within society. Newspapers informed communities, magazines connected readers with specialized interests, catalogs influenced purchasing decisions, and direct mail generated measurable commercial results. Publishers controlled access to audiences, advertisers paid for visibility, and circulation supported a business structure that appeared stable, durable, and largely predictable. The relationship was elegant in its simplicity. Valuable information attracted readers. Readers attracted advertisers. Advertising generated revenue. Revenue financed journalism, production, distribution, and expansion. For decades, this model created an environment of remarkable stability. A local newspaper often represented the primary source of information within a community. Retailers depended on newspaper inserts to drive consumer traffic. Automobile dealers, real estate agencies, supermarkets, and local businesses relied upon printed advertising to communicate with prospective customers. Classified sections connected buyers and sellers long before digital marketplaces existed. Circulation represented attention, and wherever attention existed, advertising naturally followed. The first meaningful warning emerged during the recession of 2001. Economic uncertainty forced organizations to re-evaluate expenditures and scrutinize marketing investments with greater discipline. Advertising budgets encountered increasing pressure, prompting businesses to explore alternatives that promised flexibility, lower costs, and improved measurement. The financial crisis of 2008 accelerated forces already reshaping the marketplace. Organizations faced extraordinary pressure to justify expenditures and demonstrate measurable returns on investment. At the same time, digital platforms introduced capabilities that traditional media struggled to match. Campaign performance could be monitored in real time. Audiences could be targeted with increasing precision. Marketing strategies could be adjusted immediately in response to results. What initially appeared to be a gradual shift soon became a structural transformation. Advertising dollars began migrating toward digital channels with increasing speed, permanently altering the economics of media and marketing. Technology amplified this transformation even further. The arrival of smartphones changed communication from a scheduled activity into a continuous experience. Information became available almost anywhere and at any moment. Tablets, mobile applications, wireless connectivity, and social platforms reinforced this transition, creating a world where access to information traveled with the consumer. Consumer behavior evolved accordingly. Individuals no longer waited for a newspaper delivery to learn about current events. Product research moved online. Purchasing decisions became increasingly influenced by digital recommendations, search results, customer reviews, and social platforms. Retailers redirected marketing budgets towards search engines, email campaigns, digital promotions, and social media. Classified advertising migrated to online marketplaces. As audiences moved, advertising inevitably followed. The consequences became increasingly visible throughout the printing industry. Circulation declined. Advertising revenues became less predictable. Publishers found themselves supporting infrastructures originally designed for larger volumes and stronger revenue streams, while confronting an environment that demanded greater efficiency and tighter financial control. Competition also changed fundamentally. A newspaper was no longer competing against neighboring publications. A magazine was no longer competing only against other magazines. Every website, social platform, streaming service, podcast, video channel, and mobile application became a competitor for the same finite resource, human attention. Information became abundant while attention became increasingly scarce. The digital revolution delivered unprecedented access to knowledge, yet it also created a new challenge. Consumers became surrounded by a constant stream of headlines, alerts, advertisements, opinions, recommendations, and content competing for attention throughout the day. Visibility became easier to achieve, but credibility became significantly more difficult to maintain. Misinformation spread rapidly. Manipulated content gained influence. Artificial engagement distorted public perception. Trust, once assumed, became something organizations were required to earn repeatedly. Ironically, the communication industry succeeded in making information more accessible while simultaneously making confidence in information more difficult to establish. This environment revealed one of print's most enduring advantages. A printed publication exists as a finished product. It cannot be altered after distribution. It does not depend upon an algorithm, a notification, a battery, or an internet connection to remain visible. Its presence is physical, direct, and independent. While digital platforms compete continuously for attention, printed media occupies a tangible space within the reader's environment. As external forces transformed the marketplace, printing organizations faced growing pressure within their own operations. Declining revenues forced difficult decisions. Modernization projects were postponed. Capital investments were delayed. Equipment remained in service longer than originally planned. Cost containment became a strategic necessity rather than an operational objective. Production continued. Presses operated. Products were delivered. Facilities remained active. Yet activity and profitability are not synonymous. A press operating at full capacity can still generate disappointing financial results. Waste quietly erodes margins. Downtime consumes profitability. Aging infrastructure creates hidden costs that often remain invisible until they begin affecting financial performance. Operational inefficiencies can exist for years beneath the surface of an apparently productive organization. Most organizations focused their attention on external market conditions because those pressures were highly visible. Internal weaknesses frequently remained undetected until declining profitability exposed their impact. Then came 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic accelerated nearly every trend already affecting the industry. Distribution systems experienced disruption, advertising expenditures declined sharply, consumer behavior shifted rapidly, digital communication became even more integrated into daily life. Years of anticipated change occurred within months. The pandemic did not create the industry's structural challenges, it exposed them. Organizations that had postponed modernization, delayed transformation initiatives, or relied heavily upon legacy business models suddenly confronted realities that could no longer be ignored. Today, another transformation is underway. Artificial intelligence is reshaping journalism, advertising, content creation, customer engagement, marketing, and media production. Tasks that once required significant human effort can now be completed through automated systems operating at extraordinary speed. This development creates substantial opportunities for innovation, efficiency, and productivity. It also introduces a new challenge. As content becomes easier to create, credibility becomes increasingly valuable. The ability to generate information is no longer the primary barrier. The ability to establish trust, maintain standards, and deliver reliable communication has become the defining competitive advantage. Organizations that understand this distinction will be positioned to thrive in the years ahead. The future of print is not rooted in nostalgia, it is rooted in relevance. Physical media continues to provide permanence, visibility, presence, and engagement in ways that remain difficult to replicate entirely through digital channels. Printed products continue entering homes, offices, retail establishments, manufacturing facilities, hotels, healthcare environments, and countless other locations where physical communication still carries value. The collapse of traditional printing is not the story of an industry disappearing. It is the story of an industry being challenged to redefine its role within a communication environment that continues evolving at extraordinary speed. The future will not belong to organizations attempting to recreate the past. It will belong to those capable of adapting, modernizing, integrating new technologies, and creating value within a marketplace where trust has become one of the most valuable assets of all. The organizations that succeed in the future will not be defined by the volume they produce. They will be defined by their ability to deliver trusted communication in a world overwhelmed by unlimited information.